The city administration negotiated with TIFA, with Wayne County, and came up with a settlement that city administration and Taylor TIFA were accepted, as did Wayne County. The settlement agreement needs to be approved by the Taylor TIFA board, and it was. The settlement agreement was not approved, was brought forth to City Council and was not approved by City Council. So now you have two parties, two plaintiffs in the litigation now have different views, okay? And the city, Taylor decided to continue to go forward with the litigation. Taylor TIFA decided to take the Wayne County's settlement offer and the settlement that was negotiated between Taylor and the city administration and conclude the litigation. And they did. And they entered into a settlement agreement with Wayne County to that effect.
Mr. Chairman, I can't comprehend how a TIFA can agree upon an agreement between the city of Taylor, which encompasses this body, and Wayne County. Okay. Please explain that to me.
Well, that was the underlying crux of the litigation, okay? Back in 1987, the city of Taylor, through Mayor Preby, entered into an agreement with Wayne County.
Correct.
To give up all these different revenue streams. The fact of the matter is, those revenue streams were not the city of Taylor's revenue streams. They are, and still are, the revenue streams of the Taylor TIFA. Taylor TIFA is a separate and distinct governmental body, has the right to be sued and the right to do things. It is separate and distinct from the city of Taylor. Okay? And that was how we got Wayne County to agree to this settlement agreement, that they would even commit to assist us in working on the Eureka Road project, because we brought the legal theory that the city of Taylor did not have the authority back in 1987 to bind the Taylor TIFA to the agreement that the administration did at that time. That was the underlying crux of the argument. And that's the argument that we ran up the flagpole with Wayne County Court and negotiated over a year and a half, 2 years with Wayne County, and convinced them that there are some legs on that theory, and you could be at risk if you don't do something with the Taylor TIFA at this time.
I got one more question before I go to Councilman Mazura. So my question is to you, that when we entered into this legal agreement, or this legal battle, so to speak, the city council voted no. We were removed, so we kept the litigation going. Why did you choose to hand us off to somebody else and use our corporate counsel not defend us?
No. From the very beginning, when we filed the litigation originally, Taylor TIFA came to us, came to the administration and said, we'd like to try to get rid of this North Line Road agreement that they had. Right. And a lot of different legal theories were bannered about back and forth over the last couple of administrations. A couple of other law firms looked at it. We looked at it and said, we think this legal theory has some legs. We decided that the Taylor TIFA would sue Wayne County. Taylor TIFA could have sued the city of Taylor too, but we didn't think that was a good position. So we decided that we would have two bites at the apple. We would have a law firm represent the Taylor TIFA, which we were, Howard and Howard did, and then we had Mr. Greco's law firm represent the city of Taylor. Therefore, whenever we went to court, the Taylor TIFA would be able to argue all of its things, and the city of Taylor would be able to say, I agree 100% what's going on here.
Well, we didn't get Mr. Greco until we voted no. Am I correct?
No, that's not correct.
We never had...
I was going to ask who was representing our interest after we were excluded, and how did that piece of the litigation come to a closure? Because I don't recall that.
So, if you recall, again, when the case was filed, we decided that one law firm can't represent both bodies, okay? So we made the decision that since it was our theory that Howard and Howard would represent the city of Taylor, and Mr. Greco, through his law firm, would represent the city of Taylor. From the very, very beginning, on the very, very first pleadings, that's how it was set up.
So how, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Mr. Councilman.
So we can find court proceedings where Mr. Greco, after City Council voted no in February of 17, where Mr. Greco was still going to court to continue the litigation, and separately, Howard and Howard was working with TIFA to come up with their own agreement. Is that correct? There were proceedings in March, April, May, where Mr. Greco was still defending City Council's no vote on that settlement agreement.
That is correct. That is correct.
And how did that come to a closure to the point where, I believe in July, is when TIFA, through Howard and Howard, reached a settlement agreement that excluded the city of Taylor? How did the Greco litigation come to a close? When did he stop voicing our opinion because we voted no?
He never stopped voicing the city's opinion. He went to court. There were various motions filed, summary disposition motions filed on behalf of Wayne County. There were motions filed, as I believe, by Mr. Greco that basically said, we believe, that is, the city's position is that the original position that Taylor TIFA has is correct, and we think that that whole agreement should be set aside and we should be able to be refunded $90 million or whatever it was.
Right.
Mr. Greco had that day in court. He had that opportunity to be in front of the Wayne County judge and argue those issues. The Wayne County judge issued an opinion, I think a month later, saying he rejected those theories and dismissed the case and awarded the verdict to Wayne County.
But the final order that the judge responded to was really the agreement by TIFA and the city against City Council's wishes to settle, right? So TIFA essentially went to court and said, hey, we tossed council out of this matter. We want to resolve this matter. And that's really what brought closure, not Greco on behalf of City Council throwing in the towel, right?
He did not throw in the towel.
I'm not convinced that there was any effort after we voted no to continue the fight, and I'm looking for evidence of that.
No, there was. He actually, I can get you the pleadings, and he argued it, and then we brought it back. I think he brought it back to council to decide if he wanted to appeal the decision.
The final order was written in a way that says that the court considers such a request highly irregular and quite possibly procedurally impermissible. That was in reference to the litigation for 3.5 years involving City Council and City Council voting no, and then removing the City of Taylor from that lawsuit so that TIFA separately could settle with Wayne County. Is that correct? Didn't the judge find it possibly procedurally impermissible that the City of Taylor was excluded from the settlement?
No, that's not what that says.
What was that in reference to?
I have no idea what it's
I have
reference to.
that sheet on my desk right now, and I think you're right, Councilman.
I have the final order right here. I wasn't sure what
from the court.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm still looking for City Council votes no. City Council thinks that the litigation is going forward. Separately, TIFA's working to settle with the county, files their own motions 5 months after this, and then eventually gets the response they wanted, and the response has an asterisk that says it's highly irregular and quite possibly procedurally impermissible. I'm going back to, I don't think anybody fought for City Council when City Council voted no in February of 17. And I do know there was talk about possibly appealing, and we were advised against it because we would have been somehow, council would have been suing the mayor or council would have been suing TIFA, and we were advised against it. But I don't recall there being any effort whatsoever to represent council's interest after council voted no in February of 17. I don't think that ever took place.
That's not correct. And again, I did not represent council on that, Mr.
Wait,
Greco.
that's fair. I'm asking, you're kind
I can
of
get
helping
you-
us revisit history, so I
can get
appreciate
you
your
all the
comments.
pleadings that Mr. Greco filed, if you want.
After the no vote.
Yes.
And then there is, separate from the final order relative to TIFA going to the judge asking for a settlement with an agreement that only TIFA had with Wayne County, you're saying there's a separate final order on Greco's pleas after council's vote?
Yes.
Okay. Could you send, just so I have
Very
that?
well.
Thank you.
Actually, I'll ask Mr. Greco too, because
Well, or I could ask him, I
I'll get
mean,
him for you, don't worry.
thank you.